Welcome to Black Girl Say Something, where this black girl has something to say. And I'm going to call this episode Healing and Raising Children. Now, I didn't expect the last few episodes to go the way that they're going, but when I consider the fact that start at the start of Black Girl Say Something, it is my realizations from where I was to where I am now. I can say that from where I was to where I am now is I'm realizing that healing and parenting have to happen in tandem when you're a parent. If you're not a parent, then but healing and parenting has to happen in tandem. And you have to be able to heal through it and parent and then heal while parenting. And I'll give you some examples of how that is working out for me. So I'm finding myself these days sharing pieces and bits of my childhood with my children. I know. I'm just like, why y'all want to know about that? Why are you asking that? Questions like, Mommy, did you ever have your own room growing up? Questions like, Mommy, how was it with Grandma? What places she used to love to take you? And it is a constant reminder that even as you grow up, you cannot leave the past behind. I know there's this notion and this ideology of leaving the past behind, but sometimes the past is right there to remind you that what you are doing now is because of what you endured then. And funny enough, the children have been in this, I don't know, it's this nostalgic place where they're really wanting to get to know me on a deeper level, I guess you could say. Because again, I've prefaced my parenting in them understanding that while I am your mom, I'm just a human, I'm just a girl. And as being just a girl, I have boundaries and I need space and, treat me the way I treat you. And I say that from a place of the respect. And I say that from a place of having the conversation and the trust, right? Because I want my children to trust me. I want them to be able to understand that as their mom, I'm always going to do what's in their best interest and not for personal gain. So what's funny about where I am right now with Black Girl Say Something is I didn't realize I would be talking so much about parenting because again, it is subjective, it is objective. Do what's best for you, do what works for you. This is just Black girls experience that I'm sharing with you. And so if I have not found a place to heal, I would not be so forthcoming with letting them know or letting them into that part of my life, right? And I also find it very interesting that there was a time that my daughter, when she was younger, she would ask me things and I would just shut down. And I don't know if she remember it because it was quite, when things were tumultuous and I was still, her dad was living in the house and they would try to have these conversations. And oftentimes I wouldn't want to share those things with him or with him around because he would in turn throw them back in my face, especially with it being a state of vulnerability. And so I didn't show any vulnerability in that way. So now I'm in a space, you can be vulnerable when you have found a place to heal. You don't have to be hard all the time. And this is just a message to myself. You don't have to be hard all the time. And you don't have to be a gangster all the time. You could cry. Let your kids see you cry. Let your kids know you're having a bad day. Let your kids know that I'm not always in a place where I don't know if it's going to be okay. I'm figuring it out and you don't have to figure it out because that's my job, right? But still and true, my son asking, "Did you have your own room growing up?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't have my own room." So he's like, "When did you get your own room?" And I'm like, "Oh, when I became an adult, when I got my first place." Like we were never in a position for that. Uh Again, me being the eldest daughter, me being the one, to be the homeowner, I'm laying the foundation for my children so that they can have the good memories and talk to their children about how great their childhood was or how, I don't know, maybe they might not think it was so great, but they'll be able to articulate and explain what parts weren't and what parts were because that is their experience. Anywho, as I move past some of the things that I've experienced or some of the things that I have entailed with them through my childhood, I'm finding that, even with us doing therapy together, it is a place of letting them know that, hey, don't worry about what happened to me as a kid. Don't feel sorry for me, because they do. They like to feel their feelings. They feel their emotions, and I'm like, don't feel sorry for me, because guess what? I don't feel sorry for me. I'm very proud of who I've become. I'm very proud of where I am, and even in the small moments where I feel like I'm failing at this thing called parenting, they say something or they do something to just remind me that, hey, girl, you kind of the bomb.com. And for example, every month in our house, my sisters and my children, we do a house meeting. It's just a little check in to follow up, see what we can do better, see where we're at, what we need to do, things like that. So my daughter called a meeting this month, and I was like, oh, okay. So the night before, she's like, hey, check in with everyone's schedule. Just want to do a family house meeting check in. I'm like, okay, boo, 2 snaps for you. And she really wanted to take the time to just check in with everybody and let everybody know how she's doing in school and what's going on with her. And I know we have all been kind of busy with planning her birthday and hanging out with her for her birthday and things like that. We even went to brunch, but it's just the fact that those check-ins, and I'm gonna tell you this girl used to hate the family meetings. She didn't have a reason why, but she hated them. And so now she's using her tools and her resources to be better mentally and emotionally equipped. Homegirl was like, let's have a meeting, because I want to let y'all know what's going on with me, and I want to know what's going on with y'all. And it's a no judgment zone. And I was like, okay, black girl with something to say. And I'm just letting her know, I'm like, are you proud of you? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, that's all that matters, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, I do tell my children I'm proud of them. Yes, I do give them the little external validation, but I don't do it too much, because I need them to be strong in their own internal validation. They're now in a place in their life where they have to stop hearing mommy's voice, and they got to start hearing their own voice. The voice that's within them, the voice that's going to tell them what's right from wrong, the voice that might tell them what's wrong, and they might have to turn around and tell it, hey, I don't want to do that, because I want to do what's right. Again, I did record an episode that said parenting requires detaching. And while, I didn't go too deep into what that looks like for me, I just kept it real surface level, because at the end of the day has to end. But with that being said, if something resonated with you, share this with at least one person. Remember, healing is a marathon. It is a relay, if you will. You take what you need and you keep going, and then you don't realize you need to be healed again until something else comes up. So it is a marathon. And so I pray that we all can just run this race, and eventually we'll get to the heal side of things. But with that being said, if something resonated with you, share this episode with at least one person. Remember, you can tune into Black Girl Say Something every Friday. Wherever you listen to podcasts, we drop a new episode at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And could you kindly please subscribe to the Patreon? There is a video over there that I think many people should see. And so subscribe to the Patreon. We do have an exclusive drop over there of the podcast. It is an in-studio recorded episode with a special guest. So take some time, interact with the links in the description of this episode. And don't forget, because this Black girl has something to say, tune into Black Girl Say Something.